Hello, I'm Nancy Stark, and I've been a member of St. John's for about 20 years now. And I'm here today with Lisa Turner. Lisa has worn many hats at our church over the years, and now she serves on our church council as the lay leader. But she's here today to talk about the care ministry. So, Lisa, what would you say is the heart of the care ministry here?
You know, our family has been with St. John's for 11 years, and I think the care ministry today at St. John's is both a committee as it stands today, and there's some aspiration that's also been across the church. You know, when I think about the care ministry, this is about recognizing, celebrating, supporting all facets of life and life events.
Thinking back over the last year, can you think of a story that illustrates how the care ministry works?
I could probably think of many in one. You know, when I think about care ministry, it is both wide and it is deep. I think that's what we have at St. John's, and that's how it's been exhibited to us. We also give as good as we get here, I think, in a care ministry. You know, this time last year, John was diagnosed with colon cancer at a very young age. And what that meant to us was what comes next and how do we get help? So from one planned surgery to two more unplanned surgeries, to complications and infections and a 62-night stay at a hospital. From that to, gosh, within a couple of weeks, Harrison is navigating his senior year of high school. He's also going through his own, I'll say, mental health crisis. A lot of folks at church don't know that that was going on simultaneously. And then, unfortunately, and it happens a lot in tech, I lost my job for the third year in a row. And so all of those things happening really within the same month, that was a lot. That was a lot to handle, quite a valley. And so our baseline as a family really became, how do we just wake up tomorrow? And our church family really stepped in. Whether we asked or accepted, this was anything and everything from phone calls, obviously, text to check in, what's the status of John and how is everybody doing? This was going to let my dogs out when we didn't have anybody around to help us. It was our Sunday school feeding us for 5 weeks straight, 3 meals a day, and when a United Methodist Sunday school cooks for you, you eat 4 weeks on end. And this was folks sitting with me during those surgeries and having a hand and an extra person to take, you know, my mind off the hard parts. It was really, really tough, to say the very least. And it's interesting, we got to a point, it must have been Communion Sunday of November of last year. And I start going back to church. I wanted to get back in, and it was an act of self-care to just go sit in that balcony and listen to the sermon and listen to the choir. And Communion Sunday, and we are doing our recitation. This is, you know, we have not heard the cry of the needy. And I couldn't even say it because I knew that I was the needy one. And it's something we get so used to saying the words, and that we aren't, we don't always know the impact that we can have when we say the words and then we act on them. And so I really felt very fortunate that folks not just say it, but they mean it, and they come out in full force and support us from you know, visits to John in the hospital to seeing some of Harrison's last band competitions. It was anything and everything in between, and it was, that was our life then, and we had never felt more supported by the care exhibited by the entire church.
For people who would like to get involved, what are some ways that they could go about that?
Yeah. It's really as simple. The answer is in the question, how do you get involved? You get involved. You say yes to the thing. You find a Sunday school class or an alternative if it's not something that is working for you. You offer to prepare a meal for somebody in need. You offer to help out and go watch their kids play a ball game or in the band. Care ministry doesn't have to just happen at this church inside these walls. It really is meeting our people where they are.
And how do you think giving could increase the contribution we could make to the care ministry? And do you have hopes for the future of the care ministry?
Absolutely. I think, care ministry, whether an official committee or how we exhibit that throughout all of the things that we do at St. John's, there's a requirement for us. Where can we put our time? Where can we put our talent? And where can we put our treasure? Time might be spent cooking a meal. It might be, inviting others to come into church and caring for people who aren't even here yet, our would-be members. So that's going to require us to get out of our comfort and really, participate, right? That is going to take some time. It's going to take our talents, whether we have them officially or unofficially. Sing in the choir. There are some of us who don't even know how to read music, and we don't know what a flat versus a whatever note is, and it doesn't require a lot, but I think it is both innate or inherent talent and talent you're willing to develop. And then it takes your treasure. Whether you see it happen or you participate, I think the biggest thing that we can do too is contribute to that offering plate, contribute online. It's not always fun to talk about dollars when it comes to church. I was very grateful not being able to be here in this church to watch it online. And it took dollars to power the lights and to make sure that there was video capability. And it takes dollars to make sure our staff can come here and make sure that we are not just ready for Sunday, but that we're ready for everything Monday through Saturday that we're doing. And at the end of the day, it keeps all of our programs going. So I think being willing to be a person who will contribute your talent and your time and your treasure, that's where it's at. My hope is that we continue to remember that God has already been good. He has been good, He will be good, and He's good today. And that my hope is that we remember it takes day-to-day generosity, it takes a willingness, it takes cheerfulness for us to give in all ways that we possibly can, whether our exact care ministry today is doing it or we aspire to be that even more than we are today.